Merits of a company. Number one, large capital resources. A joint stock company has widespread appeal to investors of all types. There are actually different sources of funds where a company can acquire funds or money. So in other words, there are unlimited number of members and they can sell the shares of the company, and they will obviously be able to sell the shares, and the earning is unlimited. And from time to time you will see that a company do go for different sources of funds, okay, where for example a company can borrow loans from the banks and commercial banks, and by issuing shares, debentures, etc., and by also using the general reserve. So large capital resources. Next, limited liability. Another advantage of a company is this, and that is the limited liability of the members. The members of the company enjoys the right of being liable to pay the losses and debts and loans of the company up to a certain amount, where they buy the shares of the company or the shares held by that person. Continuity of existence. A joint stock company enjoys an uninterrupted existence over a long period of time. As a company has a separate legal entity, death or insolvency of its members do not threaten its existence. It means it's going to continue even if the members, owners, the founders, promoters of the company dies. It is not being affected by ownership. We must have already discussed about this in characteristics. Moving on, efficient management. A company can employ highly qualified experts in different areas of business management. Not like sole proprietorship and cooperative societies and partnership. In this case, in a company, what happens is we have owners in different categories, and they are separated from the management, which means the management work is done by certain persons called as the managers, and these are experts in their field. So therefore they have a better management. Next, transferability of shares. Another thing is not like cooperative societies. Here we can sell the shares. The owner of shares can transfer or sell the shares to another person in the coming days in future. And whoever holds the shares is the owner of the company. Economies of skill. Another advantage is that there will be large number of output and good quality at the same time at a very less cost. So this is what the company enjoys. That is the advantage of large scale of production, marketing, finance, and other areas of the business. Next, democratic management. The membership of a public company is large and its ownership is generally diffuse. Management is vested in a board of directors elected by the members. Directors are responsible and accountable to the general body of members. So a company has the what they call as the hierarchy and the structure of the organization. So now there are directors who are at the top of the whole company, and below them there are different people, and they follow democratic management in a sense that there are who elect the representatives, in this case who will be the director of the company, and these directors are the one who manages and are responsible towards the movement of direction functions of the business of the company. Next, goodwill. A company enjoys a good reputation and prestige in the business world. A company's activities are subject to scrutiny by auditors and government. So the goodwill refers to reputation of the business firm and the profit, the excess amount of profit which the company enjoys. So the company will get this by doing well, by giving their best, by observing and doing their duties, especially when it comes to government rules and regulations, and also by honoring and being responsible towards the society. So a company enjoys this if it takes part in the public welfare, etc. So indeed, it will get the public confidence. That is goodwill. That's the advantage of a company. Social advantages. The company form of organization mobilizes scattered savings of the community and channelizes them into productive uses. It thereby facilitates savings and capital formation. Now, another thing is that people in the society can take advantage of the establishment of a company, because first of all, the company generates employment, and another is where the company generates income among people, and moreover, it also invites people, the public, to save their money in the company by giving them interest called dividends. And in that way, the company is actually trying to build up the social welfare of the country. Of course, there are demerits of a company. Demerits of a company are: number one, legal formalities. Formation of a company is time-consuming and expensive process, and also you will find there are too many laws, rules, and regulations where the company will have to comply with. So delay in formation may deprive the business the momentum of an early start. So when right from the very beginning, when we form a company, we will have to comply with so many rules and regulations, and that discourages many to do so. Lack of motivation. The directors and officers of a company have little personal involvement in the efficient management of a company, because there is a divorce, or there is I would say a gap in between ownership and control, and absence of a direct link between effort and reward. So you will find that the directors may be doing their jobs in different ways, and they get discouraged a lot if the owners doesn't like the directors. And of course, there will be quarrel disputes and moving in and out of the directors, and there are many people, many staff and employees and workers in a company. So obviously, it is quite difficult to manage the disputes and etc. So lack of motivation is there, but it is minimum. Delay in decisions. Red tape and bureaucracy do not permit quick decisions and prompt action. There is little scope for personal initiative and a sense of responsibility. Here it refers to at times where the company will have to go through a lot of things, because the company cannot just jump the employees and workers and managers cannot just jump from the low level to the higher level. In case of communication, they will have to go through the chain. Okay, they can't just jump over. So there are lots of formalities here when it comes to communication, so that will delay decision making. So and that also, there's a need of permission from the higher level to do certain things. Moving on, we have economic oligarchy. The management of a company is supposed to be carried on according to the collective will of its members. But in practice, there is a rule by a few, that is oligarchy. Often, directors try to mislead the members and manipulate voting power to maintain and perpetuate their control. So there is a possibility of oligarchy in a company because there would be few people who wants to control, to manipulate the voting power. In other words, to move the company in their direction. They will win the majority, and this majority is created by few powerful people in the company. Okay, so the shareholders become mere pawns in the game of a small clique or coterie of directors. Let's move on. Corrupt management. In a company, there is often danger of fraud and misuse of property by dishonest management. Bogus companies may be formed to deprive the investors of their hard-earned money. So there is always a corruption. There is, I would say, a corruption if companies do not take care of the management, because there would be fraud and misuse, and there are news and even histories in the world, in the country, India, where there are fraud cases, scams, and there are manipulations of accounts. These are happening. So, which means if it doesn't mean that every company will have, suffer corruption, but if companies are not careful with the appointment of certain persons in the company, it might lead to corrupt management. Next one, we have excessive government control. Like I said earlier, that there are formalities that a company will have to follow, which means right from the establishment of a company, there are certain rules and regulations where the company will have to, will have to go through. So, in such a way, you'll find not just in the starting point, but even as the company grows and moves on from year to year, from time to time, there are government rules and regulation which is kind of discouraging, and would, in other words, there is a kind of a government interference from time to time. Okay, so this will slow down the decision making, and also will take time for the company to comply with these rules and regulations, especially if the government do amend laws and rules. Next, unhealthy speculation. Now, the shares of a company are dealt in a stock exchange. The prices of these shares fluctuate depending upon the financial health, the dividend, the future prospectus and reputation of the company. Now, there's also a problem here. Directors may manipulate annual accounts to make illegal gains through speculation in the company's shares. So they might manipulate certain things, directors, which means the person at the top, just to fake the price of shares, just to fake the improvement of a company. But in reality, there may not be any such. So there might be a kind of violent fluctuations of the price shares because of unhealthy speculation, which means the growth of the company is unpredictable. Okay, if the share of the price shares is being fake. Okay, next is conflict of interest. There is a possibility between various groups like the shareholders, debenture holders, directors, etc. And such conflicts reduce employee morale and efficiency of operations. Social evils. Company form of organization may give rise to growth of a private monopoly and concentration of wealth in a few hands. Big companies may use their economic power to influence politicians and government officials, leading to corruption in public life. So this is also true, that a company might actually be creating monopoly in the country and concentration of wealth in certain few people, which is happening in the world, in the country till today. So government officials do also follow, or politicians do sometimes play fool with the public by giving or allowing the certain businessmen to to monopolize the market, or politicians are doing things in favor of business persons.